As we have been journeying through this Easter season, each week has been about appearances of Jesus. And the first 3 weeks of Easter is all about that first Sunday and the second Sunday, of course. But the first Sunday is included in the second Sunday reading of Jesus appearing after his resurrection. And then we reach the fourth Sunday, and we pause for a moment. Because these readings, especially the gospel, is not have anything to do, so to speak, with the resurrection of the Lord. Because this was happening before the Lord's passion, death, and resurrection. So we have to ask ourselves, what is Holy Mother Church trying to tell us in this moment? Why have we been celebrating the glories of the resurrection, his appearance to the 12, his appearance to Mary Magdalene, his appearance to the disciples on the road to Emmaus, his appearance to Thomas the apostle? And then suddenly we rewind to about 10 chapters before the resurrection. And it's because we need to be reminded of what we are celebrating, brothers and sisters. Because we can get lost in the glories of the resurrection and forget what happened to the Lord, why he sacrificed himself upon the altar of the cross. And it was only for one reason, because he wanted to be our shepherd. And of course, most of us have no knowledge of what a shepherd does. Most of us have probably never met a shepherd or studied shepherding. I would hazard to say that most of us don't even think about what a shepherd does. But I can remember riding the bus through the Holy Land, and you would look out the window into this stark desert, and you would see a shepherd alone with his sheep. And you see, shepherds lived with their sheep. They watched over them and they protected them. They guided them to where they needed to go for the best water and the best pasture. And they were always there, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, making sure that the ravenous wolves and the roaring lions were kept at bay. And if one of those creatures decided that they were so hungry that they were going to charge in and take a member of the flock, the shepherd does not run and hide. The shepherd goes and stands between them and the enemy. That's what a shepherd does. A shepherd was willing to lay down his life for his sheep. And we can't really comprehend that, because I don't think there are many of us who would lay down our life for the jobs that we do, so to speak. But the people of Israel understood this completely and totally. They knew what Jesus was referring to. And so they could understand exactly what he was talking about. And what we need to be reminded of is that the resurrection is glorious, but it was necessary for the passion and death to reach it. The resurrection is wonderful, but it required Jesus Christ to stand between us and the ravenous wolves and the roaring lions. And he knew that the only way he could defeat them was by laying down his life, so that he could place us in the sheepfold of the church, so that he could protect us. And when he talks about being the gate, it is through the gate of Jesus Christ that we enter the church and are here in this good pasture. Because there are many bad pastures out there, filled with lies and deceptions, telling us that we can be whoever we want to be, telling us that we can love whoever we want to love, telling us we can do whatever we want to do. And yes, those pastures are nice and they feel safe, and they make us feel good about ourselves. But they're not leading us to where we need to go, because it is not the shepherd's voice who is speaking to us, but the voice of the enemy, the great enemy himself, Satan. And so Jesus interposed himself between us and the world. He laid down his life so that we could have life and have it abundantly. And so what must we do to remain in the safe harbor of the sheepfold of the church? We must keep the commandments, brothers and sisters. We must follow his teachings. We must live our lives in ways that are pleasing to him. Because the pastures that he is leading us to are far greater than any pasture this world could ever offer. Because the pastures that he is leading us to is the pasture of heaven. But if we ignore his voice, if we wander away from the flock, if we follow our own paths, then those ravenous wolves and those roaring lions are waiting to devour us. Because here's the reality about sheep. They are stupid. They are the stupidest animals on the earth. And God understood something about human beings, that they were like sheep. Because from the very beginning, they were misled and tricked, and they ended up in places they did not want to go. And so in the fullness of time, he sent the true shepherd, the good shepherd, Jesus Christ, to save and redeem us. And you would think after 2,000 years of celebrating the glories of the resurrection and the passion and death of the Lord, that we would have woken up and become smarter, but it seems like the sheep are just getting stupider. And they're worried more about their belly and their passions than they are about getting to heaven. And so the church pauses in the midst of the glories of the resurrection to remind us of who we are called to be. That we are called to follow the true shepherd, Jesus Christ, and the only way that we can do that is by keeping his commandments, by following the teachings of the church, and staying within the sheepfold that God has given us. And then we will be protected, then we will be guarded. And there's also another aspect of this, because each one of us, brothers and sisters, has been baptized as priest, prophet, and king. We are called to be Christ-like. That is what the name of Christian means, which means that we are called to be shepherds as well. And we are called to be good shepherds of our brothers and sisters. There are those natural relationships of shepherding, of husband and wife, of parent and child. And then there are our relationships as brother and sister through the blood of Jesus Christ and the waters of baptism. And we are called to shepherd one another. And a good shepherd protects his sheep. A good shepherd watches over his sheep. A good shepherd rebukes his sheep whenever they get out of line. And he does all that because he loves them and he wants to protect them from the harm that is out there. And all of us are called to be good shepherds, not only to those that we love, our kith and kin, but also to those we do not know. We are called to be shepherds of the flock along with Jesus Christ, and to say no to the ravenous wolves and the roaring lions, and to protect the flock. And so let us celebrate this Good Shepherd Sunday, first and foremost thanking God that he gave us such a great shepherd as Jesus Christ to show us the way, to save and redeem us. And then let us remember that we are called to follow his example and help him in protecting his flock from ravenous wolves and roaring lions, and especially from the great enemy himself, Satan.